Hello humans, it's just Martine, and today we're going to be reading graphic novels that are based on books I've read. I've read lots of books that have then been adapted into TV shows and movies, and I've watched those things and enjoyed them, but to my recollection, I haven't really had the experience of reading a book and then reading a graphic novel version of that book. So I've picked out a couple of those, and I'm going to start the first one right now. It's Dune. I have a whole vlog where I blasted through, I think, like the second half of Dune because it was due at the library, but I also loved the movie, and I'm so excited for part 2 of the movie to come out, so I thought maybe I can give this graphic novel a shot, especially because one of the things that I really loved about the movie was the visuals. So I'm interested to see how these visuals stack up. Let's get reading. All right, so I did read this yesterday and I'm giving it 3.5 stars. What I did not know going into this, and what I think is important if you're looking for an adaptation of Dune, and this is how I felt with the movie, the newer movie too, is this is only part of the story. So they were saying in the foreword of this that they wanted it to be a really faithful adaptation, and it is. And so they were going to need 3 books to do it in, because the original book is split into 3 books within the book. I understand that they wanted more money and I understand that it would take a long time to do the whole thing before publishing it, but it was really unsatisfying to get to the end of this and just feel like the story is starting. Because if you've read Dune, I really struggled through the first book of Dune, like within Dune. Dune is a series, this is so confusing. Dune is a series, but I'm talking about in book 1, there are 3 books. And I really struggled through the first book of Dune and then really liked the second and third one a lot better. So the fact that I only got the first one in this was a little disappointing, especially because I'm not sure if the second and third parts of this are actually out, or if my libraries just don't have them, or whether they're not out yet, but I don't have access to them, so that's sad. But I still definitely think this counts for this. But I do think that some of the visuals that I was particularly looking forward to in this didn't happen because those things happen in books 2 and 3. I'll be interested to see as I read more graphic novel adaptations of books I've read, how I feel about this. For this one, I, as a reader, don't imagine things when I read. It's one of the weirdest things about my reading style. My sister cannot comprehend it at all. She, meanwhile, has lists of characters and who she imagines as each character. I don't imagine them at all. And so especially with a big sci-fi like this, there are huge ships and they're on a different planet, and I'm just like, words. They're just words to me. And I'm having fun with the words, but they're just words. Reading that book and then getting to see it visually, whether it's through the movie or this, is really fun for me because I have no preconceived notion of what it should look like. Should based on like the descriptions. I think one of the biggest things that people complain about when it comes to visual adaptations, whether it's like a movie or graphic novel, is like, this character didn't look like I thought they would or should. This place didn't look like I thought it would, or how it does in my mind. I don't have that. So I'm just like, oh, that's what it's supposed to be. I do think reading this after having seen the movie, I like how the movie has done that better, and I'm excited for the second part of the movie for that reason, because it's actually going to cover the parts that I really liked in the book. And then on the other hand, I do feel like I'm glad I read the book and not just this, because even though I get the visuals now through watching the movie or reading this instead, I only knew what was happening in this because I had read the book. So like, I was following along, and I think they did their best to try and make things clear, but world building is just so much harder in this way, to me, I think, especially when it's something as political as Dune. But overall, I had a fun time with it, and I'm really interested to see how I feel about these other adaptations. In April of 2021, I got to choose the Shelf This Book Club pick, and we read The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood. It was not my first Margaret Atwood, but it was my first time reading The Handmaid's Tale, and I gave it 5 stars. So, what more perfect graphic novel to read for this challenge than The Handmaid's Tale? I probably won't love it as much as the book. Also, I have not yet watched the TV show. I really want to. The episodes are just so long and I'm terrible at watching TV. So maybe seeing it in this form will encourage me to get started finally, even though I'm currently locked out of Hulu. Let's get reading. Okay. My feelings are a lot more complex about this one than they were about Dune, because I'm really waffling between a 3.5 and a 4, but I think I'm going to give it a 4, and here's why. Do I like it as much as the book? No. Was it interesting like this? Yes. Do I still think this world is so good and just being reminded of it is enough for high rating? Also, yes. It felt like I was mentally going back through what the experience of reading it was like for me, if that makes any sense. I definitely think this book would make little to no sense if you didn't read the book or watch the TV show or something. Again, I feel like graphic novels don't always do the best job of telling complete and cohesive stories. So I would have been so lost with all the world building in here, even though I thought they did it really well for a graphic novel, if I hadn't read the book. So as an adaptation, I really liked it. But as a standalone, meh. And at least with this one, unlike Dune, this covered the whole of the book instead of just the first third. That said, I do think they rushed some parts of it. But I really liked the art in this one. There were some things that they did that were really creative, and then other parts that were just normal. And it was interesting to see like the visuals of this world, because there are some very specific things about this dystopic future. Since I don't imagine things when I read them, I didn't fully grasp necessarily until I like saw them. Another one bites the dust. For my Conquering Classics video, I read Jane Eyre. And you would think that's not related at all to this video, but in fact it is, because for this video I read the graphic novel of Jane Eyre. This one is a like kids adaptation of it. I'm giving it 2 stars. I did not like this nearly as much as I liked the book Jane Eyre, but again, you should watch that video to figure out like what I thought of that. But this just took out so many things I liked about Jane Eyre. The story is there, although it's very, very choppy, because to be fair, like Jane Eyre kind of has a big span. I would say that there are like 3 main parts of Jane Eyre. There's like the part at school, the part at Thornfield, and then there's like the part with the parish. And so it was just very choppy. Like it wasn't clear in here how we went from one section to the next necessarily all the time. Like it was just rushed through, and you didn't get to care about any of the characters very much because you didn't get to spend time with any of the characters very much, because it's just 64 pages, just rushing. And to be honest, most of it was told in these boxes. So instead of incorporating it like into the way that it was drawn, it was just a lot of telling, which is already bad in books, but in a graphic novel is like not at all the point. But I did find it interesting to see the art from this, so 2 stars. But yeah, it was kind of a miss. I won't lie to you, it was a miss. During the 24 and 48 round of Squash Head series, I did manage to sneak in the Enola Holmes graphic novel volume 1, which is the 1st through 3rd book. I was gifted this book at the same time that I was gifted the first 3 Enola Holmes books, and so I read those earlier this year, and then I read this. So I was reading those in preparation for this video specifically, and I ended up rating it 3.5 stars. It was like a pretty good adaptation, although I don't know, basically there are lots of puzzles and codes in the Enola Holmes books, and the way that they chose to do that in the graphic novel is like they would tell the story, and then like at the end they would have like pages of her secret notebook, and that would have like all the codes and stuff from throughout the whole story. I felt like a lot was missing in the actual telling of the story that you definitely couldn't maybe understand if you hadn't already read the books. But I do have to say, the art in this, oh my gosh, it's beautiful. I don't know, there's just something, look at that. Are you joking? That's so much. It's so good, so pretty. So like, this is a beautiful book to keep in my collection. I really, really love the art in it. Happy about this overall, but like as an adaptation, I don't know, it was like fun, but I do think I like reading the books better just because the narrative flow is better, but I love the visuals in this so much. So that's my review. I think the unfortunate thing that I've learned while making this video is that I only think graphic novel adaptations of books are really good if you've already read the book. Interestingly, I do think they present a very nice opportunity for a quick recap of the book. Like, if the next book in a series is coming out and you don't want to have to reread the entire first book to know what happens, it's a fun way to read through it again as a graphic novel adaptation. But on its own, I think graphic novel adaptations just fall a little short for me because they do something that I have problems with in all graphic novels, in that graphic novels present and build worlds in ways that just doesn't work for my brain. Like, they're probably dropping all the info you need, but my brain is not taking any of it in. Like, is it hidden in the art? What am I missing? Is there nuance I'm missing? Probably. It's a good thing that I'd read all these books instead of just reading the adaptations. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a big thumbs up and comment down below what are your thoughts on graphic novel adaptations of books, and subscribe for more reading, writing, and college lifestyle content. And until next time, bye humans, bye!